Morning guys, we're down at the famous Swan Valley in Yateley and we've got an exclusive booking for the next 48 hours. We're trying to do the walk around and I'm being quiet because we've got a lot of fish fizzing in this swim and we've got the draw in about 20 minutes. The other guys haven't clocked this yet, so fingers crossed this could be a good one. So I came 6th in the draw, which to be honest with you, out of 8, you wouldn't really want to go that way, but I did get my first choice. It's called Back Island, peg 22, and this is actually the swim I showed you earlier. A lot of fizzing, a lot of movement, so plan of attack will be creep round there, couple of rods out, sit back, and let's try and bank one. Right guys, so my swim's about 30 foot up that way and the main bulk of the party have gone the main lakeside. So my whole approach is going to be as quiet and as stealthy as possible. I'm not going to cast, I'm not going to mark, I'm not going to lead about. We saw the fizzing early on. It's just a case of getting the pole out, dropping a couple of bags over the top of it, rods set back, us fully back from the swim, and that's my approach. Fingers crossed, that's the way we're going to snare one early on. I've decided to fish the fade solid bags. Reason being is a solid bag presents basically in anything. And the situation is I didn't want to mark, I didn't want to lead about, I just wanted to try and nick a bite early on. And another reason is I'm not overcommitting with the bait. It's a little mouthful, trying to snare one, I'm not dropping bait left, right and centre, big piles of it. So that means I can move about, I don't have to commit to a single spot, I can test the areas and present lovely every time. So I'll start off with the leader end. I'm using the 45-pound blend leg core. There's no leg core ban here. I'm fishing a braided main line along with a leg core leader. It is the most durable and probably the best way to fish in a very weedy water. And moving down onto the rig itself, I'm using the ready tied solid bag rig. Just for convenience, I'm not sitting there in my bivvy tying loads of rigs up. So I've just literally taken it off the existing leader and connected it onto my leader. And the reason I've done that is I wanted to fish a drop-off lead, inline lead system, just because I'm fishing in a lot of weed and I want to make sure that I've got every chance of landing these fish. And moving on to the bag itself, it's the medium fade PVA solid bags and it's full of all small items. We've got the PVA pellet mix from Mainline, we've got the IsoSweet crumbed in there, and we've also got some Smart Liquid and some buttercorn goo. And when you're fishing solid bags, you want to get small little items to compress it and compact it as much as possible so there's no little air pockets sitting in there. So when that hits the water, gets straight to the bottom, sinks like a brick, and then disperses, leaving one little mouthful of goodness. So with all that said, I'm going to show you how to tie this up. Start by taking 10 to 12 inches of blend leg core. Make a break and remove 4 inches of the inner lead. Now take your splicing needle and insert this into the leg core and thread the needle an inch up the leg core and exit the leg core with the needle. Now using the hook on the splicing needle, hook this to the tag end of the leg core and slowly pull this through, ensuring you leave a nice size loop. Take your pulling tool, pull the leg core down tight to make sure this loop is secure. Now we're going to repeat this process on the other end of the leg core, but prior to pulling through the leg core, we're going to thread on an inline insert. So now that's the leader completed. The next thing to do is attach the lead and the tail rubber. Take your solid bag rig out of the packet. We are going to remove the existing leader, which is already looped on. With the hook link removed, attach this to the new leader. We do this by looping the hook link onto the swivel. Now floss on your chosen hook bait. In this instance, I've chosen a wafter. The last step is to tie the solid bag itself. Take a fade solid bag from the packet. Now place a small amount of pellet at the bottom of the bag. Now insert your lead, working this to one side, keeping your hook bait out the bag at the moment. Now continue to fill the bag until it's half full. Now insert your hook bait and work this to the opposite side of the bag to the lead. Continue to fill up your PVA bag, leaving a couple of centimetres at the top to be able to work this down. The next step is to twist the bag and keep tapping it down to compress the bag and make it more solid. And with the bag nice and tight, we're going to take some fade PVA tape. For the medium bag, I'm using the 4mm fade tape. Cut off around 8 inches of tape and use this to tie the bag down like so. I tie this off with a couple of overhand knots just to make it secure and trim off all the tag ends of the tape and the bag. The next step is to work the corners to compress the bag even more. Take your baiting needle and pierce some holes to remove any last air in the bag, making sure you do not damage your hook link or hook bait. And that's the bag complete, perfect for fishing in these weedy environments. With a number of fade solid PVA bags pre-tied in readiness the night before, it was a simple case of tying the leader to the main line and getting these straight out on the spot. Using the pole, stealth was key in these early stages, and I felt sure it could bring by a quick bite before the other guys had even set up. Okay, so I've got the first rod out, over to a massive fizz just on the edge of the weed over here. So I managed to get the pole out and drop it bang on. It's still fizzing now, so I'm very, very confident with that rod. So second rod, different approach. This time I'm going to load up the pole just to see if they're going to really grub down on it. So I've got two different approaches, little small PVA fade bag, and then this one fully loaded. Let's get this out and see what happens. So the rods are out, brew in hand, and I've got 5 minutes just to sit back and take it in. The right rod this morning, the commotion was unbelievable. Just off the edge of this weed bed, bubbles everywhere, just really stirring up the bottom. So I'm confident still. It's calmed down a little bit, but I am confident. Left hand rod, I sent out with a lot more bait with the pole, dropped it just underneath that tree, and again, let's just sit back and see what happens. So all the commotion from the other anglers, markering and getting their rods out, should have calmed down a little bit by now. So I'll give it a couple of hours. I'll have a mooch about over the other side, also this side, just into the free swim, seeing if I can pick up on any signs. And yeah, if we need to make the move, we'll make the move and set up camp for the night, and yeah, we'll just go from there. Right guys, the plan hasn't paid off, so what I'm going to do is reel in, take a wander around the lake, all the disturbance from the other anglers, see if anything's moved in elsewhere, and yeah, plan B. The move wasn't going to be easy. With the best areas of the lake now stitched up, after a short while I did make my mind up to move into a swim that I knew had good history. So my confidence was still there, especially with the name of the swim. So we've got to peg 8 and 9. This is the decision. I'm going to move into one of these. There's a lot of snags, a lot of weed beds, just very carpy out there. I just need to work out now the best way to approach it with line lay. There's a lot of other anglers down the other end. I want to keep that sort of out of their way, and I want to approach this with a still very stealthy, quiet approach. So pegs 8 and 9, we've got the ambush point coming through from the other side of the lake. We've got the weed bed sitting in between this. We've got snaggy areas which I know have done big fish in the past. So all I've got to work out now is which area I want to approach, if it's 8 or 9, to set my traps and set up camp for the night, and hopefully this is the one. Peg 9, Swan Valley. This is where I've decided to put the house up. We're running out of time, so I got the bait boat out. You're allowed to use bait boats. We've got 3 rods out on the spot, really confident with these. We've got the right rod fishing to a weed bed. We've got the middle rod fishing to a snaggy area. And then the left rod is on an opening into the margins. I've actually had a couple of liners on the left-hand rod, so confidence is flowing. I'm gonna have a nice cup of tea, get some grub in me, bit of preparation, and let's see what the night brings. Morning all. Still no fish to report at the moment, but I was so confident through the night. We had some savage liners, and I mean savage liners, which we thought were going to go, but it just didn't materialise. But we've just been sitting here, another cup of coffee, taking it all in, and I've just had a donkey bosh over my middle rod, and I mean it is literally on top of it. So I've got my prayers going up to the carp gods, and I'm hoping that one of these rods will scream off in the next couple of hours. We've been told that bite time on this lake is very good, sort of mid to late morning, so I may have something to report. But like I say, the weather has changed as well. We've had some rain, quite hard rain, it's overcast, really carpy, so yeah, let's just hope that one of those takes off and I've got something to show you then. Cups of tea. Unfortunately, it hasn't paid out for me. I've tried and tried and tried, but 24 hours has come. Brad's got to shoot. I'm still on here for the social for another 24, so fingers crossed I can get into them, and I've got something to show. But hope everything I've shown you has helped, and look forward to seeing you on the bank again soon. Right all, so I mentioned to you that Brad left after 24 hours and I was staying on at the social. Well, 33-pound mirror, early doors this morning. Happy days, happy days. This is what we've come for. 33-pound Swan Valley Yateley carp. Absolutely buzzing.